Okay, all right. Great debate last night. All right, it's the first presidential debate, 2016, between Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and the billionaire Donald Trump. For my money, last night, Hillary Clinton won the debate. I know Trump people, and I heard from a few of them. They got what they wanted from Donald. And basically, there's absolutely nothing that Donald can do to get his people to turn against him. He did, if you listened to him last night, he started off the debate with pretty much his standard stump speech. So I'm not going to get into the weeds of a lot of things that he was talking about. I just want to focus on just one thing in particular, and that's the statement that he has made repeatedly now that Hillary Clinton has been in power for 30 years.
And look at Ohio and look at all of these places where so many of their jobs and their companies are just leaving. They're gone. And Hillary, I just ask you this. You've been doing this for 30 years. Why are you just thinking about these solutions right now? For 30 years, you've been doing it, and now you're just starting to think of solutions.
Well, actually,
I will bring back jobs.
You
can't bring back jobs.
And I listened to the pundits talk about it. They give him that statement, and they don't really attack it on any type of level. So I want to push back here a couple of things. One, our country has not been going to hell in a handbasket for the last 30 years. That's right off the top. The issues that we have now basically started from 2000 to 2008, right? Now, but let's go back 30 years. 30 years ago, I was a senior in high school. That was 1986, 30 years ago. In 1986, Ronald Reagan was in the White House. Now, if Ronald Reagan was in the White House in 1986, and Donald Trump says for the last 30 years that America has just been on the wrong track and nothing has gone right, I thought, in my opinion, that Ronald Reagan was the holy grail of Republican politics. I didn't know that Ronald Reagan and Hillary Clinton worked together, but that's what the Donald said. So, but let's go back. So 1986, Reagan was in the White House, final 2 years of his presidency. Then George Bush the first got elected in 1988, and he was in power until 1992. So right there, that's 6 years of this 30 years that that Donald Trump is talking about, referring to. Hillary was in Arkansas. So a couple things. From 1986 to 1992, we did have a recession in about 1990 to 91, but I think a lot of Republicans would argue that at least from 86 to 90 in that 4-year period, were things really bad? You didn't like anything? Or are you saying that it started with Reagan? That the course we're on now was started with Reagan? I don't know. So recession in 90, 92, Bush the first gets defeated by Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton stays in power from 1992 to 2000. Now, you can say that Hillary had some influence there. She was the first lady, but she was not the president of the United States. So from Donald's perspective, I guess he's saying that Melania is going to rule the country along with him. But that notwithstanding, I don't know how many people would say that from 1992 to 2000 that the United States was going to hell in a handbasket. We had record growth, just a lot of prosperity. Internet was taking off. There was a lot of .com companies that were started, and it was really some boom times. Now, NAFTA did get started back then. NAFTA, the trade agreement, North American Free Trade Agreement between the United States, Canada, and Mexico was started. And it's that trade agreement that everybody's trashing now. And and I always hate when people go hindsight and just trash something altogether, and when something didn't work, and then go back and say the politicians that made it had bad judgment. There's nobody who made NAFTA foresaw some of the things happening. You make a trade agreement, or you make a agreement, you put it in place, and that's just like the big crime bill that Bill Clinton has since apologized for. You put something in place, come back, don't work, so whatever. But that doesn't mean that that you had bad judgment. That means that something that you tried didn't work, in my estimation. I'm all for trade. I'm all for, let's take a look at NAFTA if we need to and do some tweaking. But there are a lot of jobs that NAFTA that went to Mexico that are never coming back here. And even if they hadn't originally gone to Mexico, there are going to be other countries that we just simply could not compete with as far as labor. And that's the one thing that Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders people, a lot of folk don't admit, that other countries, even if the United States did not participate in some of these places where labor was cheaper, other countries were going to be able to get cheap labor in China, cheap labor in India, cheap labor in Mexico, and they were going to price us out anyway. I don't necessarily think that was the problem was going on. My big take on it, as far as NAFTA, and I didn't want to get too far off this, but I just didn't think that when the companies left and they saved money on labor, that I think they should have taken that money and reinvested it in their companies, reinvested in trying to get other products that would have to be manufactured here, do a reinvestment in trying to create different opportunities for the type of jobs that we could do here. But that's another story. But so, I said all that to say I'm still getting back on the 30-year mark. So Bill was in power from 92 to 2000. And then the Republican Party took over from 2000 to 2008, took over the House, the Congress, and the presidency. I think there was some period there that the Democrats might have had some power, I think in 2006, toward the end of the Bush era. But to say that Hillary had power there is just absolutely wrong. Now, you could argue that she has some influence from 2008 to 2016, or at least 2012 when she was Secretary of State. But make no mistake, the president is the power broker, not a Secretary of State, not a member of Congress, which Hillary wasn't until 2000 to 2008. But in that time, the Republicans ran the House and the presidency was in the hands of the Republicans. So if Donald Trump is upset with the direction of the country in the last 30 years, there's only half of that, less than half of that, that could be even tied to Hillary Clinton. So that's a big whoa, So, but it's nice to know that Donald Trump feels that Hillary and Ronald Reagan worked together to put America on this track. But anyway, but I want to end with this last thing, man. Don, I want you to have a little thicker skin, man.
This
is
nice. But she spent
hundreds
of millions of dollars on negative ads on me, many of which are absolutely untrue. They're untrue and they're misrepresentations. And I will tell you this, Lester, it's not nice. And I don't